We are getting ready for the first race of this weekend. Driver A will take part in a 14-lap sprint. Then driver B will take part in another sprint. And at the end of that, we'll have the grid for the L&H 500. We're at Phillip Island in Victoria. It's round 9 of the championship. And this is one heck of a circuit.
4.5 kilometres of one heck of a circuit. In fact, Matthew, 12 corners and the highest average speed of any track on the national tour with a front straight speed of 280 kilometres an hour. It's an awesome racetrack. 171 kilometres an hour, by the way, that average lap speed. 850 metres that front straight where you're at 100% throttle. Quite a number of decent passing spots, and without question, a racetrack that every driver talks up. It is world class, and it's going to produce a fabulous race today.
A big welcome to all our international viewers this weekend at the L&H 500. You're looking at the starting grid for the first race, which will ultimately decide our grid for the L&H 500. So Winterbottom and Lowndes on the front row of the grid. Jason Bright did a great job in his session to put it in position 3. Fabian Coulthard next to him. Steve Owen is piloting car number 17 for the Jim Beam Racing. Rick Kelly will start from position 6. 7 and 8 belong to Mark Scaife and Stephen Johnson. And the back end of the top 10 finds us Greg Murphy and Lee Holdsworth.
Looking further afield, and it's Dean Canto at FPR together with Paul Morrison, the Super Cheap Auto Machine. Greg Ritter at Gary Rogers Motorsport. Good job yesterday. Max Wilson back from Brazil driving for Brad Jones at WOW Racing. Cam McConville in the Team BOC entry he shares with Andrew Jones. Craig Baird will be there with Glenn Seaton tomorrow. Beardo's got a bit of a flu. He's also pulling double duty in the Porsche Cup car. David Bernard, Paul Dumbrell. Bezzy is having a run with James Courtney. Andrew Thompson. They had a problem yesterday with the brakes on that car. Took him out of business for a little while. Jonathan Webb for Stone Brothers Racing. Matt Halliday. Vast amount of open wheel experience in Champ Car and A1 Grand Prix. Tony D'Alberto Botlow Machine as well. Michael Patrizzi, one of the drivers to be fined for pit lane speeding. Nathan Pretty, and there was a reshuffle at Jack Daniels Racing. And Todd Kelly, I understand, is still reporting problems with that intermittent misfire in the Jack Daniels Racing entry. Dale Wood next in the Sprint Gas Racing Commodore.
So we have 28 starters for this race. Up for grabs for the winner. 50 points into the bank. At the end of the second race, those points will be combined. The car with the most points will start on pole position for the 500 kilometre race tomorrow. And if in fact we have two cars or more on the two cars on the same amount of points, we go on the highest place finisher in our second race.
Boys, keep your eyes out for a very, very fast Craig Lowndes. And I'm not just talking about on the track. Take a look at that suit. Now, he and Jamie Whincup actually have designed these suits. They've designed them without any pockets, no strap, nothing that can get as they swap over in the car, jumping from one seat to the other during the Enduro tomorrow. They reckon they're pretty fast. They've also added extra knee strength, you can just see there, for when they need to crawl around and move in a hurry. So they are the NASA suits for Team Vodafone.
Well, the suits might be looking tight, Brett, but also the turnaround between race 1 and race 2 this afternoon is very, very slim. If there's any damage or carnage in this race, some of the teams will be up against it. Rob Crawford from Mark Scaife, we are racing for points, Scaife.
Interesting talking this morning about team objectives versus driver objectives. Steve Owen, probably one of the most underrated guys out there. Here's his opportunity. Not very often you get up toward the front of the grid in your own race. Talking to Dick Johnson, he reckons everything's cool. It's all about tomorrow. Let's see.
Thanks, Larko. Mark Larkham and Mark Barretto. Daniel Gibson in pit lane. Steve Owen starting from position number 5 in car 17. Here's Rick Kelly. He started from 6th. Teamed up with Paul Radicic for this weekend.
Gee, I'll tell you what, it's pretty interesting looking at temperatures out there at the moment, Matthew. It's 26 air and 29 racetrack. I wouldn't have predicted those sorts of values on the Saturday here in spring. You can see what a glorious day looking to the south across Bass Strait. Tassie over the horizon, and we'll be there later in the year at Symmons Plains. There's the scenario this afternoon. A compulsory pit stop, maybe. You can take it in one of the 2 races. That's the confirmation on the Supercheap Auto caption there about the weather that we've got this afternoon. But the key point is it is still blowing a gale out there at the moment. You saw in the background as the cars left the grid before, those flags standing at attention. It's coming from the north and gusting very hard. Mark Winterbottom just doing a little throttle stamping. The reason he's doing that, looking for temperature in the rear tyres, and he's not doing it by using the clutch. He wants to kind of rest the clutch, be gentle with it, just in a low gear, second gear, just gas her up, maybe first gear, and just spin those rear tyres, clean them off, make sure there's no what's called pickup on them, no rubble, no debris. But then after turn 12, he can't break traction. That's one of the rules. It's an important safety rule for people standing on the grid, obviously.
Remember that Mark Winterbottom's 12 points behind Garth Tander on the championship point score after our last round at Winton.
That's it, no more, perfect.
Got a reasonably tall diff in the cars at 3.25 to 1, so sometimes they can be a bit tardy to get off the line, but they don't have a lot of fuel in them for this race. About 43 to 45 litres, about 33 kilos of fuel, so that will help them get off the line.
Essentially, this is a race for qualifying. Remember, it's worth points. Winterbottom against Lowndes at the front row of the grid. A couple of people with nothing to lose right behind them in Bright and Coulthard. There's a lot on the line. It's great to be at Phillip Island, and Lowndes burns it up, but Frosty will have the jump down towards turn 1.
Steve Owen made a fantastic start, so watch for the Jim Beam Ford. I reckon he's rocketed up to 3rd or 4th. He's alongside Rick Kelly in turn 1, trying to make his way down the inside. He didn't quite get it done, and Rick was able to hang on.
Kelly did a good job there. He started 6th. He goes around the southern loop in 3rd position. There's Owen, car 17. Up towards turn 4. Hard at the hairpin. Coulthard caught wide. Gets on the dirt, gets back on the track. Bit of push and shove between him and Scaife.
There's a bit of extended apron on the outside of turn 4 now as well, but you do run out of road if you stay out there. They've got the job done cleanly in the first half lap as they make their run up to Lukey Heights. Awesome shot. Winterbottom a good start in a couple of car lengths. Kelly's cleared himself now and he runs with them. Lowndes, the meat in the sandwich, and then it's Steve Owen for Jim Beam. Note the short shift 2nd to 3rd.
The pit window for this race between laps 5 and 11. What a sight. Supercars screaming along Gardner Straight.
Good start, Paul Morris behind Mark Scaife. Morris is 8th in the Russell Ingall 39 car, and it's a half-second margin for Winterbottom as they cross the control line.
Well, that's the good one off the start from Rick Kelly. Oh, no. He's on the grass down there at the exit of 2. But this is his start. Now watch this, the pressure he gets from Steve Owen on his right. Still going.
He hangs on well though, not easy to do. Wide of the race line on cold tyres for Rick Kelly, but got it done. But just as we went to the replay, he was having a monster moment, and here it is again. Watch this, he just drops the right of the car off on the exit of turn 2, and that's a very high-speed grass run there. He sneaks it back on, lost some ground, but not a position.
There was only inches between that and disaster because he almost got all four on the grass. Once you do that, there's big trouble. Look at the left-hand side of the car, the front and the rear. Managed somehow to stay on the sawtooth curbing. It was enough to keep Rick on the line. And there's Paul Radicic going, geez, I hope I've got a car to go in my race. You're okay, Rat. Everything's fine. Mark Winterbottom, though, has done the job perfectly off the start. He comes around for the next lap. We'll see what the gap is. It should be around about half a second. Mark Skaife is in 7th position.
34.6, the first flying lap for Mark Winterbottom. He's eased the gap out by 1/10 over Lowndes. It's 0.6 now. On board with Mark to turn 1. It's Fabian Coulthard in the distance, and it's Paul Morris watching from behind, looking at the back of Mark Skaife's car, GT, watching the numbers and just having a look at what's going on. Right here is where Rick Kelly went off, just there on the right-hand side of that curbing. 70 kilometres an hour on the right-hander at turn 4, second gear. Morris having a little peep at the back of Skaife. On trouble here as the two Fords get together. And that's Stephen Johnson. And I think he got attacked there
by Dean Canto.
By Dean Canto, yeah.
So Dean Canto's in car number 5.
That was the division.
So he'll come in. They'll need to straighten up that steering. Here it is again in replay. He didn't quite get far enough down by the look of it. It's hard to see from that angle, but they make contact, and it's, you can see already the damage it's done on the front left-hand corner of Dean Canto's car.
Stephen Johnson and Will Davison driving car number 18 for this weekend. Winterbottom and Richards in car 6. There's Lowndes. He's got Whincup with him in car 888. Behind them is Rick Kelly.
Nice driving, mate. Nice driving. 3 completed.
3 laps down. Winterbottom has a 0.7 of a second advantage over Lowndes. Around turn 2.
Okay, let's have a look in detail at what's likely been damaged here on Dean Canto's Ford Performance Racing Falcon. We've got the front left-hand corner of the car. We've already revealed it out of the body. This bar at the back here, that's the front anti-roll bar. Forward of that is the steering rack. Now, to the left of that is the steering arm. There it is. And as he's made contact on the front left-hand corner with Stephen Johnson's car, that rod will most likely have been bent, the steering rod. And that's what they'll take a look at now, and they'll potentially either straighten or replace it. They're putting it in the garage, so I'd suggest that they'll take a bit of time to think that one through and make sure the car's safe. Justin Smithies, project engineer from Harrop Engineering, just giving us that information, the CAD drawings. Gibbo?
Yeah, you're spot on there, Neil. The drawings are accurate. It is the arm, and they've got a straight one ready to bang it in. I'll just wheel him into the garage where all hands can be on deck to fix it.
Nasty, isn't it? It's great to be able to peel the skin away from these V8 supercars and have a look inside. One of the features of this weekend, and of course as we go to Bathurst. So Mark Winterbottom, he started this race from position number 1. He holds on to that position.
All complete.
But the strategy game is still to come because the pit window is going to open very soon. Who will take the decision to come in and who won't? Back at the island where Mark Winterbottom has control of this race by almost a second from Craig Lowndes. There's Rick Kelly. That is Stephen Owen, Jason Bright, Fabian Coulthard, Paul Morris in car 39. Mark Skaife there. 33 is Lee Holdsworth. Driving the Steg Bar Stone Brothers entry for this race is David Bernard. So the deal is here. This is driver A in a 14-lap race. They will bank points as to where they finish. 50 for the leader, 46 for second, and so on. Then they'll hand it over to driver B, who'll do another 14-lap race. They'll combine all the points. The car with the most points will be starting the L&H 500 from pole position, but there's another game to play, and it's the pit stop game.
Yeah, that's the joker in the pack. But this is an interesting battle here because Lee Holdsworth is starting to get a bit of impatience in behind Mark Scape at the moment. He's got a couple of...
Heaps of push coming up to the front straight. Have you tried stepping the rear bar? Try doing that now.
He's got a couple of spots around the track where he's strong, but he isn't able to put it to effect in several other key locations, and so there's a bit of a seesaw going there, and there's another fascinating battle going on between these blokes here that includes Murphy, Johnson, Bernard's in there as well up the inside now. And does he make it stick? Yes. So David Bernard, who's guest driving this weekend for Stone Brothers Racing, took a little bit of time to come to terms again with the sheer pace of Phillip Island this weekend. Did a great job last year with James Courtney in the endurance races. There's that extra bit of extended apron on the outside of turn 4 that I spoke about before. Further back behind these guys, it's Cam McConville and Max Wilson. They're having a bit of a battle there in Brad Jones' cars as well, nose to tail. Holdsworth good at the back end of the circuit. This is where he ranges up to Mark Scape. Remember, we heard Mark talking before about the fact that they concentrated a lot of energy on creating a car that was going to be easy on its tyres.
Now, mate, 10.
That's the voice of Matt Nilsson. They're going to bring Scape in.
Okay, Scapey did it, so we should be right there. Okay, mate.
So we need to not only just watch the efficiency of the stop, but do they change anything on this car? Because it looked like it was starting to drift, sliding a lot. Scapey confirming he's in pit lane, 40k electronic speed limit, bat cam monitoring above.
Yes, stop on me.
Voice of Rob Crawford, car controller.
And the joker that you mentioned probably is that only one of the races has to feature a compulsory pit stop, so they don't have to do it for Garth Tander now.
There's a roll centre adjustment there.
Go.
So they have tweaked the car to try and tidy it up a little bit.
The other cars that went in there, the 88 car, the other 888 entry. With Mark Hines behind the wheel. Also car 7 went in for its stop. Todd Kelly. Dean Canto, the FPR car number 5, remains in pit lane with that steering issue.
Yeah, boys, a few issues going on here. We just saw the Scaife car came in. They did an adjustment for the rear roll centre. They went down in the turns there. And also for Todd Kelly, nearly mentioned at the start, he's been complaining of an intermittent misfire. It's still continuing at the moment. It's over 5,000k on the rev limiter. He's really slow out of MG and he'll stop soon.
Hines is off at, looks like down at the southern loop it will be. So Team Vodafone having their problems with car 88. But I can tell you that car 888 is making a real race of it out at the front. Craig Lowndes is chopping into the times set by Mark Winterbottom. Look at him right up now on the back of Mark Winterbottom's car.
Just further explaining that rear roll centre adjustment that Daniel spoke about before. Again, I've got Justin on the case here with the CAD drawing. We'll have a look at the Watts Link bracket. The bracket is the big triangular device there. See that threaded rod that runs down through the middle? When they make that adjustment, which we see happening outside the car, it moves the slider here, the actual Watts linkage, the bell crank in the middle of it. As they move it down, and that's what they did, they're lowering the rear roll centre, which has the effect of giving the car more drive. Now, I might get my little mate Larko in the pit lane in a minute to explain a bit more about that. He's got a whiteboard here this weekend, which will be fascinating to watch him in action with the crayon. But all they're looking for is more rear drive with that car. Thanks, Justin.
So Lowndes versus Winterbottom out at the front. It's a beauty, this one, Cromley. And the time there, Mark Winterbottom had about a second lead. It's down to 0.2 of a second. So Frosty's got a mirror full of Team Vodafone.
This looks interesting, doesn't it? Because this tells us a bit about tyre condition. And we saw a glimpse of it there with Mark Skaife's car. All the talk leading into this event was what would the effect be of longer running at Phillip Island be on these tyres. Well, it's certainly looking like it's hurting Winterbottom at the moment. It has hurt Mark Skaife. He's made the roll centre adjustment to drop the roll axis in the car. Look at the body language on Frosty's car. It's sliding. It's slid all the way through turn 2. Lowndes is on him.
Mark had to have a couple of adjustments there with the wheel to get it around. Rick Kelly showing good pace too. The last time they all went around, Rick did the fastest lap. Up to turn 4. Boy, there's been some action at this turn in the last couple of years. No matter what format.
Watch in particular the body language at the back of the Castrol Ford.
Coming up to lap traffic soon, mate.
One of the great strengths of the Team Vodafone cars has been the treatment of their rear tyres at different times, especially in endurance racing. They seem to have managed that very well. It's not just about what they're doing with the tyres, it's the suspension, and in particular that perhaps the shock absorbers and spring combinations that they put together with that.
Out of turn 10. That's the spot to let the guy in front know that you're behind him. Everybody does it. The real one to watch here also is the man that just came into screen there, car 15, Rick Kelly. He's showing really good pace now.
Completed, mate. Doing a great job.
See what it is this time around. It was a 136.24 for Winterbottom, 136.23 for Lowndes, and a 135.6 for Rick Kelly.
And watch for Lowndes down the inside at turn 4. He'll try and drive the car very, very straight through here at 2. He might even get it done a little bit earlier if Frosty stays up too high there. Listen to Craig, on and off the throttle. Now, it was a better run that time for Winterbottom. He got through there with the car nice and straight, but it's down the right-hand side here into 4, where if Craig was closer, he could be vulnerable. And here's a little nightmare for Team Vodafone as we watch car number 16, it's Dalton Brell in the pit lane. Now remember that for the next race, Jamie Whincup has pole.
Go.
So if you pit Craig Lowndes now, you basically affect the total outcome for that car. So that'll be the stuff that they're playing with at the moment strategy-wise. Those gaps look inviting, don't they? Look at this. Wrong side of the road though at turn 11 for Lowndes, but he's definitely got car pace. He's got a better balanced car at the moment. He's all over him like a cheap suit as they come onto the last corner. Turn 12, a little extra dab of the brake for Winterbottom. He'll try and push him out of rhythm when they get down to turn 2. Not literally, but certainly sweating on him.
286 kilometres an hour for Craig Lowndes along that straight. And I told you Rick Kelly was buying in. He's done it again at 136 flat. So he is half a second quicker at the moment than these guys because they're duelling with each other. This is game on for 3 of them. Winterbottom, Lowndes and Rick Kelly.
Here, mate.
Now he's on the wrong side for turn 4. He's got an ideal line here, but it doesn't translate when they get down to the next one. Or does it? Yes, actually he's done it easily in the end. So I think if anything, Frosty's just decided to make life easy for himself and not hurt the rear tyres because Rico's gone through.
The blink of an eye.
Go, Craig. 4 laps to go, mate. Doing a great job.
Mark Winterbottom's gone from first to third. Lowndes now leads the race. Rick Kelly there second.
Craig Baird, 16th at the moment.
Go.
It takes us a little bit of extra oxygen just to process the right names and car numbers here at the moment. We're in endurance racing mode and a unique format today. A race apiece for the individual drivers, and Winterbottom got swamped on that lap. And now, Lowndes. Wow, that's makes the fight a little bit bizarre. All right, we'll see. After all that hard work.
I'm wondering too if Winterbottom, he did. Mark Winterbottom went with it.
Okay, Craig, I've got you. Watch your pit speed. Leave it in the position, rear tyres only, pit lane is clear. Nice and easy into the box.
New leader of the race is Rick Kelly, Steve Owen. We've got the slide rulers smoking here at the moment, folks, to figure out what all that means. Fabian Coulthard is in fourth.
Clear. Watch your pit speed. Cold rear tyres, mate. Cold rear tyres. Watch out, you'll be coming out around Tanda.
Certainly should be. They should be. Well, actually, they should be well and truly ahead of Tanda because Tanda's only coming around the final turn now. So there you go. We knew we were going to get some surprises. And there's a couple right in front of us. But Rick Kelly showing tremendous pace. On lap 12 of 14, Rick leads this race. You're at Phillip Island with the V8 supercars. Different format, a whole lot of fun.
Owen, at this stage, you're matching his pace with no problem. 3.7 behind you.
Here we are with HSB's Rick Kelly. Did a great job to get up to the back of the fight that was going on between Winterbottom and Lowndes. Found himself in second position after all this hoo-ha. This is the overtake where Lowndes comes up on the inside. We didn't think that he'd have enough to get there. Look at Rick Kelly fighting for every inch of tarmac. And by this stage, Frosty decides, I don't want any part of the mess. Jamie Whincup says it's all good. Lowndes hit the front. Rick went with him. Frosty ended up third, and now Rick's back in the lead.
You don't see people passing on the approach to the outside of turn 4 very often, and for two guys to do it in one manoeuvre, admittedly with the cooperation of Mark Winterbottom, but that is a rarity.
On Rowan to the first sector.
Boys, there was no changes made to Mark Winterbottom's car during that stop, and I asked Tim Edwards, why did we stop at this stage of the race? It was a mathematical equation. They looked at the percentage of cars that had already stopped in the field versus who will not be stopping in the next race, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I was actually doing some calculations when all that started to unfold there, Gibbo, and it was about 10 or 12 cars by that stage. So the numbers started to add up, is what you're saying. And right now, Mark Winterbottom is in 12th position with 23 points next to his name. Compare that to the guy who's leading the championship.
Absolutely fine.
His co-driver, Mark Scaife, is in 15th with 20 points. And now Rick Kelly's asking the same question. How many people have pitted? Well, only 10 haven't, Rick. So that leaves 17 pit. Dean Canto, the other one who's not in the race.
What's curious here, Matty, is lap speed. Last lap for Rick Kelly was a mid-36. For Steve Owen, it was a low 37. For Bright, it was a high 36. So they've lost a pile of pace relative to their peak speed, which was in the 34s. Of course, in qualifying, we saw 33s. And there's no great surprise there because we always knew that this was going to be difficult for tyres around here.
It's good fun, though.
It's fascinating. I must admit, though, I was a bit surprised to see a couple of those guys go in, but in the end, you're going to go and do two races. In one of them, you're going to have to stop. 101 theories about what the right and wrong ways to go about it. Brad Jones Racing entries in the Team BOC and WOW Racing car. This is the last lap, incidentally, and Cam McConville and Max Wilson. Cam 7th. They've actually swapped places since the last lap, so they're in quite a vigorous battle. Rick Kelly, 4.5 second margin. He's going to grab a bucket full of points here, 50 of them.
It's been a good job by Rick Kelly. He started in 6th position. Had his hands full from the start of this race all the way to the end.
Brilliant job, exactly what we needed. Well done.
Thanks, guys. Good stuff. I mean, obviously we won that while I was pitting, but promising pace there. A good job with that setup. We're so much stronger than Lowndes in areas where we can pass him, so that's a good job. How many people did pit?
So there you go, Rick Kelly. Very happy with the setup, more importantly. He's thinking further ahead.
Yeah, he had good consistency. Talking with Alistair McVean, his engineer. So they go into the main game now with a bit of promise, and Radisic's got to do the job in the Driver B race. And he'll have to do the compulsory pit stop in his race. Rick didn't take it in this one. Steve Owen second, and that further underscores his racing pedigree. He's done a great job today. I mentioned earlier in the telecast, he leads the development series at the moment, and there's the man who's got to do the job next for the HSV dealer team, Paul Radisich, former world touring car champion.
Rick Kelly, the race winner, and 50 points. Steve Owen second, as Neil mentioned, a fantastic effort in car 17. Also great to see Jason Bright up there as well. Coulthard, Holdsworth, McConville, Max Wilson and Jason Bargwanna, with Greg Ritter and Andrew Thompson rounding out the top 10. Those in the big play though, Mark Winterbottom 12th, Mark Skaife 15th. So the second race of the LNH 500 qualifying effort continues right after this.